Hello, how are you today? It's been a little while, hasn't it, since we did some baking together, and there was a request in my house for some cake. And so I thought, well, why don't I try and make some cake with you? And my suggestion was that we would make a fig and hazelnut cake. I've made date and walnut cake recently, and that went down really well, but I thought, well, let's try something a bit different. Let's try figs and hazelnut. But my daughter Annabelle said, Mum, the children aren't going to want to try and eat fig and hazelnut. And I think really Annabelle wanted for me to make something else that she really enjoys. And it's made with this vegetable. Now I think you all know what vegetable this is. And sometimes you might use it for a snowman for his nose. But it's called a carrot. So we're going to make something called carrot cake. Now it'd be a bit boring if you were to watch me preparing the carrots. So I've already done that for you. And all you're going to need to do is, which you're really clever at, is you're going to take the top and the tail off and then peel down the carrot, and then you can grate it. And you'll be brilliant at that, I know, because you've done it at school lots of times. But to begin with, we're going to need something that comes from chickens. Do you remember what comes from chickens? That's right, it's called eggs. Now these are from my chickens, just in the garden. I don't know who laid it. It might be a Hermione egg, it might be a Pippi egg, an Alice egg, or even a Matilda egg. Don't know. We need to go tap, 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 don't we? So we go... And then we say, Mrs. White, Mrs. White. Here. I have nice tough shells because I eat lots of grit. Right, here's Mrs. White. But Mr. Yolk, he's too scared. He can't jump. He says, I haven't got a parachute. No, help, help, help. Oh, hello, Penny. Ah! And then normally we clap, 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 clap. I'm actually really safe, Purdy. Nose out. Ready to... There we go. Whee! And we normally clap if you believe in fairies, don't we? That's right. Thank you, Annabelle. So we're going to give those a little beat. So you can use a little fork. And we're just going to beat those up a little bit for us. The idea is that we're going to beat these up using a special whisk. And in goes one egg. Now we don't just need one egg, we need 2 eggs. So we can sing our song if you want. We can go cluck, 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 chicken, lay an egg for me. Cluck, 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 chicken, I want one for my tea. I haven't had an egg since Easter, and now it's 3:30. Oh, cluck, 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 chicken, lay an egg for me. Now let's see if Purdy stays away this time. Go tap, tap, tap. And here comes Mrs. White. But where's Mr. Yolk? No, I can't live without you. I need you. Help, help. Quick, clap if you believe in fairies. I'm going, I'm going, I'm going, I'm going. Yay! In goes the second one. And we give a little beat, just to beat the egg white and the egg yolk together. So the yolk is the yellow bit. Now, at the moment, they're not very fluffy and they're not very mousse-like. And that's what we need to happen to the eggs. So if you've got a hand mixer, like we use at school, the one that I say I pretend is a hairdryer, let's pause it there. Sorry about that, children. Sometimes my dogs go woof, 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 woof when there's somebody at the door. And it lets me know that there's somebody there perhaps delivering something. So that's what that was about. Anyway, I think we were talking about whisks. And at school, I pretend that it's a bit of a hairdryer. And we talk about how we have to use a plug to get the electricity to flow down the cable to be able to turn on our special whisks. So if you've got one of those whisks at home, use one of those. I don't because mine's at school. So I'm going to use my special mixer. And I'm literally just going to pop it on and leave that running, okay? It's going to be a bit noisy for a while, so maybe we'll see how we go. Okay. Reverse! So whilst, I don't know if you can hear me, that's my only concern. So whilst that's happening, we're going to measure out the oil. Now you might think, well, that's a strange thing to use. And normally we might use butter or we might use marge. And we've now got Matthew going to try and come through because he would like to probably have a mini Battenberg. Oh yes. That's one of Matthew's little tipples. Matthew, would you like to say hello? No? Okay, we'll just ignore Matthew there. Do you think you can hear me okay, Annabelle?
Hi.
Oh, you got a hello. So here we are. Normally we'd use butter.
Hi.
Normally you'd use butter, or you might use a dairy alternative to butter. This cake is actually going to be dairy free because we're going to use something called oil. And this is vegetable oil, which makes it sound like it's made from lots and lots of vegetables. But actually, when you look at the ingredients, it's just made from rapeseed oil, which is that yellow plant you often see in the farmer's fields. So you see fields and fields of bright yellow, that's rapeseed. I'm going to turn it down a bit because it's quite noisy. So, we're going to need 140 mils of rapeseed oil. Now, is this going to be a liquid, a solid, or a powder? Do you think I can pour it like water? Should we see? If I can, it means it's a liquid. Let's have a look. Oh, look, see, it pours out. Look at that beautiful golden colour that it is. It's a gorgeous golden colour, isn't it? There we go. 140. We needed 140. 140. So we just put that there. We can get some other things ready whilst we whisk those eggs to look like a mousse. What else are we going to need? Oh! Now sometimes we use this and it normally grows in the fields, in the sun and the rain, and it grows very, 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 very tall, and quite often it's the colour white. But this one is the colour, can you see that? It's brown, and it's called soft brown sugar. And we don't want the dark version. You can get one that's very, very dark in colour. We don't want that, we want the light brown. Quite rock hard actually, so I'll just break it up in my hand a bit. That's it. Now you need 200 grams of this, so we're going to be looking for a 2, a 0 and a 0. So you can do this at home with your scales. Perhaps you've got scales like at school which go tip top either side. Or if you've got what I've got here, digital scales, then you're looking for the number a 2, a 0 and a 0. Oh, we're nearly there. Oh, exactly. How about that? That didn't take very long, did it? There's our sugar nice and ready. And then this is going to be the bit that you can get ready while your eggs are whisking up if you haven't got an electric whisker. A hand one, sorry. So you need to take off this end bit and you need to take off this top bit. And maybe your mummy or daddy or whoever's sitting after you can do that for you. And then you peel it. Just take the edges off. And then you're going to use a grater. And try not to eat it as you're doing it because they're very tasty raw carrots, particularly with some hummus. Or just on their own, really scrummy. But you're going to grate it until it looks like this, okay? I know, yummy, yummy, yummy. And they smell delicious. So we need our grated carrots too. Let me go and have a look. I'm going to pause the footage while we just whisk up the eggs really quickly. So should we go and check and see how those eggs have got on? Remember, we only used 2 eggs and we put nothing else in the mixer. It simply was egg. It was quite noisy, wasn't it? So that's why I thought it'd be a good idea to pause it. But if you have a look, it's gone all mousse-like, and that's what we're looking for, all light and fluffy. So it's amazing what you can do with eggs. You can poach them, you can boil them, you can have them scrambled, use them just the egg whites and create meringues. The list is endless, all from a chicken. Incredible. So here we go. Where did we get to? Let's have a look. So into there, do you remember we've got this lovely golden liquid, and it's called vegetable oil, which actually isn't from lots of vegetables. It is purely from rapeseed. So why they don't just call it rapeseed oil, I don't know, children. It's a bit crazy, isn't it? But here we go. We're going to pour it in, which is something else that you're really very, very good at. Remember, hands on the handle and one to support, and just tip and pour, and you'll have a nice, steady, even pour in. So in goes the oil. Then, what else are we going to do? We're going to add our, can you remember what we called this? It's our sugar. And it doesn't look like ordinary white sugar, but when you look at it, it is all sparkly, as if the fairies have made it. So in goes our soft brown sugar. And we're simply going to put that in there as well. And we're not going to worry about whisking it in or anything like that. We're just going to literally tip it in. And to that, we're just going to fold that in nice and gently. We could give it a little stir. We're going to fold it in nice and gently because we don't want to lose the air from those eggs that we've just put in, because that would be a bit sad to suddenly have a flat cake after all that hard work that the machine has done for us. You could do it by hand with a balloon whisk, but it would take you a little while and you'd end up with big mussels. But if you've got the time and you fancy big mussels, use a hand balloon whisk and do it all by hand. I think you might get a bit bored. So we've folded that in, and now we're going to use the vegetable, the orange vegetable, and we're going to pour that in. So this is our grated carrot. Now Annabelle quite correctly pointed out to me that I hadn't told you how much you need. Now you need 300 grams. So you need 300 grams of grated carrot. So I always tend to weigh out about 380 grams of unpeeled carrot, and that generally will give you about 300 grams. So in goes our grated carrot. Again, try not to eat any. I feel a bit like Blue Peter. Here's one I made earlier. Okay. Oh, Annabelle got a Blue Peter badge. It came through the post. That was a nice surprise for her. Maybe when you're a bit older, you can do something and you'll get a Blue Peter badge. They're very rare and quite hard to get. You might be thinking, well, why did Annabelle get one? And she got one. Annabelle's saying, don't tell everybody. She got one because she's so caring and thoughtful, and she's been looking after me while I've been poorly, and she looks after her brother. So she has a very golden heart. And she's doing the filming right now, which is why she's telling me, no, Mummy, please don't tell everybody my secrets. So in goes our carrot. Oh, now this is something you really like, and you might have in your boxes, in your lunch boxes, and sometimes they come in little square cardboard boxes, but mine are in a jar. And you're going to need of these, and they used to be a grape until the sun dried them up and turned them into raisins. So you're going to need, I tried to remember this off by heart earlier, 100 grams of raisins. I like big juicy raisins called flame raisins, but you don't have to use those ones. You could use sultanas as well, or cranberries or blueberries, whatever dried fruit you've got is absolutely fine. Whatever takes your fancy. 100, so 100 grams of raisins, in they go. Put those on. Don't want any flies, I haven't got any in here, but anything going in there. I know, I'm a bit crazy. Now, the next bit that you're going to need, I wonder if you know what these are. Now again, I didn't want you to be bored to tears, and you don't have to add these at all. You can leave these out. When we make these at school, carrot cake, we don't put these in because some children have allergies, and it's a nut. And this one is called, I should think one of my pupils will know exactly what this is. It's called a pecan nut. So we're not going to put them in whole. We're going to put them, I've put them in a special machine that's chopped them up into like a powder. Oh, I'll give you a clue, a powder. It's what we call ground. So we're going to grind them up. And I've ground my pecans into a powder. Here they are. And all we're going to do, see, they're not those lovely big shapes anymore. I'm going to just pour those in there as well. So in goes our pecans, but you don't have to use nuts. You could, if you wanted to, use hazelnuts, or I guess you could use almonds. So I'm going to see how I'm not beating it, I'm just stirring it really gently. It's called folding in. You go round and then you cut down the middle, and you go round and you cut down the middle, and you go round and cut down the middle, and that way you mix it all together without actually losing any air. So what else do we need, children? We've got our carrots, we've got our oil, we've got our sugar, we've got our raisins. We haven't got anything that comes from wheat, have we? So what do we need? What's this called? Can you remember? Something that we tend to use in all cakes, and it's called flour. And you get different types of flour. We don't need strong flour. That's what we use for making bread. And we don't want plain flour, because that's what you tend to use to make scones and biscuits. You need the light, airy fairy flour, because you want your cakes to be light and fluffy and airy. So we're going to use self-raising flour. And we need 180. 180. So you go 180. Oh, it's a new packet. Isn't that lucky? Now, is it going to be a solid? Is it going to be a liquid like the oil? Or is it going to be a powder like the ground pecans? Let's have a look. Can you see? It's a, oh, turn the scales on. Let me get some lights flashing. Yep. Here it is. It's a powder, and it's all soft, and it's light, and it's fluffy. So can you remember what numbers I said? You're looking for a 1 and an 8 and a 0. Let me get closer, I can see my numbers. It's a bit boring, this bit, isn't it, looking at the top of my head? Sorry about that, children. Now, Annabelle said my hair all had to be up, mainly because I'm losing lots of hair at the moment, too much. It's all falling out where I've not been well. And we don't want hair in cake, that just wouldn't be pleasant. Oh, 175, 178, oh, 180. There we go. So we're going to pour in 180. zero of self-raising flour. Now, it'd be rather nice to have some spices in here, so we're going to add those. I found in my cupboard, to just test you a little bit, is I wonder if any of you know what this is. Do you know? It's called cinnamon. It looks like a stick, doesn't it? And that's because it is known as a cinnamon stick. And you might add it to juices to create lovely moulds, spicy type things, to puddings. Anyway, so that's cinnamon, but we're not going to use it as a great big stick. We're going to use it as a ground powder. And we need my special measuring spoons. And you need 1 teaspoon. Oh, can't open it, children. I haven't got the muscles today. There we go. You need 1 teaspoon. Here it is. I love the smell of cinnamon. Delicious with apples. So 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Let's bring that down here. Now, the next one, I've shown you what cinnamon looks like. I mustn't give this away. We've had this at school a little bit, and some of you might remember. Some of you often think, oh, you say, it looks like a walnut, and we pass it round, and it's all wrinkly, and it's that shape. But it isn't a walnut. And let's see if I've got one where I've been grating it. You can't really see the patterns when you grate it, but it's got beautiful markings if you grate it. It's actually called nutmeg. And so we're going to use one of those, but we're going to use it as a ground version. So we don't need quite a teaspoon, we need half a teaspoon, a bit like if you eat half a biscuit or you cut half a cake. We're going to have half a teaspoon of nutmeg. It looks like cinnamon, it's the colour of cinnamon, it is a powder like cinnamon, but it isn't cinnamon. And it smells completely differently. And when we look at the differences of the cinnamon and the nutmeg, they're not the same, are they? So they look the same, but they're not the same. And then we're going to have something called mixed spice, and that's made of different spices. In here you've got things like ginger, maybe some cloves, cinnamon, nutmeg, all different. And again, it looks the same, but it isn't the same. And it smells differently because it's got other spices in it. And we're going to have half a teaspoon of mixed spice. In goes the mixed spice. Now the really strange ingredient, because we haven't used butter and we've used oil, is something called bicarbonate soda. Now if you do a volcano experiment, this is great fun to use. Because you use bicarbonate of soda with vinegar and you get the pretend lava to go whoosh up through the crater. That's really good fun. But we don't want our cakes to go whoosh. No. That wouldn't be so good. So we're going to use half a teaspoon again. And look, it's white. But it is going to make our cakes rise and go nice and bubbly because of the oil. Otherwise they'll be a bit stodgy, which wouldn't be very nice. It's a bit of science for you children. There'll be a chemical reaction that will go in there. And finally, we're going to add a little bit, I like to use sea salt. And we just need what's called a pinch. A little pinch. Just a pinch, not very much, of sea salt. And that will just help enhance the flavours. Let's make sure that I've used everything. And you can have a look, see what the mixture looks like at the moment while I have a quick look through. Oiled eggs, carrot, raisins, pecans. You don't have to, or you could use walnuts, flour, cinnamon. Yep, we've got it all. So now we're going to do more folding in. I thought of something I didn't get out today, and that's my spatula. That was a bit silly of me, so I'll go to my drawer and get one of those in a second. Now, children, while I'm folding that in, what you need to do is ask a grown-up, because ovens are hot, 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 to set your oven to a temperature of 150. So 150 degrees. Not, it is very hot, but not your normal temperature. Normally we bake cakes at 180, but not here. I think Purdy would like to have a game or something. She says, oh, carrot cake, but dogs can't eat raisins, so she definitely can't eat this. We'd have to make her a special cake. Maybe we can make dog biscuits one week. She would like that a lot. And I have some special dog-shaped bone cutters. But like always, children, I'm digressing, which is a bit of a worry. So you need a tin. Oh, sorry about that. I've got my tin ready for you. It's, I wonder if you know what shape it is. We've got one long side, another long side. So you've got two long sides and a short side and a short side. So you've got two short sides. It's called, it's not a square, or even though it has four sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's not a square, it's not a triangle, and it's not a circle. It's called a rectangle. And if you look around your home, you will see lots of doors. And all of your doors are the shape of a rectangle. They have one long side, two long sides, and two short sides. They're called rectangles. Now let me go and get my spatula from my drawer. It's a very important utensil to have when you're baking cakes because it saves you leaving any behind in your mixing bowl. So all I'm going to do, children, is carefully transfer that into, and you can pour it in properly. You could make these as little cupcakes actually, if you wanted to. I'm going to try pouring it in. If you wanted to, I have done that at school with you, is rather than make one big cake, is you could make it as cupcakes, and they turn out really well. And if you do that as like muffins, I would bake them probably for 20 minutes, no more, because otherwise they'll be burnt. And nobody likes burnt muffins or cupcakes. They just don't taste very nice. So you can let the spatula goes round and it gets all the last bits out of your bowl. I tried to think of a recipe, children, other than what Annabelle requested. But also, I'm getting quite worn out now. I'm getting breathless. But also to think about ones that wouldn't need too much whisking, because that would be a bit dull and boring. So there is another recipe I can do with you where you use your hands. And I've got some rhubarb growing in my garden. So maybe, rather than making something like an apple crumble, maybe I'll teach you how to make a rhubarb crumble. Because that's good fun as well. I wonder what vegetables you've got growing at home. I wonder if you grew any of the beans in the bags and watched them sprout up. Maybe you've got some tomatoes growing. You might be able to make tomato chutney. So here we go. Oh, children, I really am very tired. I'm going to have to go and have a lay down. Sorry. In goes that last bit, and then you need, just make sure it's nice and level, and then you're going to pop that in the oven. Oh, how long for? Very good question. Let's have a look. It says for an hour. I would check it after 45 to 50 minutes and just check it with a special skewer to see if it comes out nice and clean. And we'll do that and we'll come back and have a look later and see how it looks and whether it's still low down in the tin or whether it's risen above the tin. So I'm going to pop it in the oven, and you'll get a grown-up to do this because ovens are very hot. And you want the middle of the oven, not the top, not the bottom, you need the middle. Okay, so that, oh, I've got my tea towels in the way, sorry children. So, whoopsie diddly dog. You need them in the middle there. Here. Now shut the door And I'm going to set my timer for 40 minutes. I'm just going to fill the buttons because then I know what numbers I'm at. If I count 8, there. Actually, I might go 45. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and I'll see you later and I'll show you what it looks like. Cheerio! So the ping has just gone and I've got my special cake tester and I've got my oven gloves on so we can go in the oven. Purdy's interested. She said it smells very nice, Mummy. And I just pop that in there and it comes out nice and clean. So we can turn the oven off and that tells us the cake is ready. Now, normally my cake would rise a lot more than this, and I think it's because I didn't whisk in the sugar after I'd done the whisking of the eggs. And I would normally do that, but I was very conscious of the noise level and I didn't want it to be whirring in the background for so much. So if you can whisk the sugar in with the oil into that moussey eggs, it'll be even better. So we're going to put that on a cooling rack and you can leave it to cool. It will still be really tasty and I'm sure Annabelle will still like this. And then I'm going to make some special topping to go on the cake. So I might show you how to do that or I might just write down the instructions. As I said earlier, I'm feeling really tired at the moment, but let's see how I feel and I might do that. All right? So we can turn our cake out just to leave it then cooling on the cooling rack. And you can just lift it out very carefully and nudge that bit out of the way, says I. Try and do that very handedly. There we go. We'll just leave that to cool. Now, to make the icing, what you need is, and this bit you can make dairy-free if you've got dairy-free cream cheese at home. So we're going to put in here, in our mixing bowl, 200 grams of cream cheese. So we're literally just going to take that out. Oh, I've got it on ounces, which I don't want. So some of you might have things like called Dairy Lee or Philadelphia. And that's all a type of cream cheese. And nearly there, so we need 200 grams of cream cheese, and to that you're going to add 50 grams of butter or a dairy-free alternative if you need it to be dairy-free, and you need that room temperature. So in goes your butter. And then you're going to whisk those two, well not whisk them, beat those two together. You can buy ready-made cream cheese in the supermarket, so you can use that. And we're just going to blend those two together like that. This gets your muscles going. And you might think that's really strange, putting cheese on a cake. You've made cake with carrots, Sandra, and now you're putting cheese on the top. You're very strange. But to that, we're going to add something called, it's a liquid because I can pour it. It's called vanilla. It smells delicious. So we're going to have 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And we're just going to very carefully pour that in. So it's a lovely, you see that beautiful rich colour it is. It's almost like a golden deep amber colour, isn't it? There we go. So 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And I'll write this all down when I post it, all the ingredients that you need. So don't worry. And you can make this in advance. You don't want to put it on the cake when the cake's still warm, because otherwise it will just melt and go oozy, and that won't be very nice. And then I'm going to cheat and put this bowl just for a minute on my scales, like that, so I can weigh out something called icing sugar. So it's similar to sugar, but it's been made into a powder, but we don't want it lumpy. So we're going to use this, and it's not a fencing mask. It's called a sieve, and it's got tiny, 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 tiny little holes in it. And we're going to use that to get rid of any lumps in the powder of the icing sugar. So we just need 50 grams of this. So I'm going to shake some in like this. And what you do is you just tap. And it all softly, you hear that's very, very gentle. It softly goes down. As you can see, all the lumps come to the top. And all the non-lumpy bits go through. It's very clever. So tap, 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 tap. Until you get to a 5 and a 0. Oh, I've got it all over the scales, children. I can't see the numbers. Oh, 4 and a 0. So we're nearly there. Right. Oh, and I cancelled it. That was silly. But I know that 4 and a 0 plus 10 is 50. So if I go to 10, I'll have the right amount, won't I? Just as well I learnt my numbers. Oh, 10. That's 50 grams. And I can pour the lumpy bit back in there for another day. That's clever, isn't it? Now the other thing we're going to use, children, is this fruit. And it's called an orange. And I've got a special zester which has these holes in the top, and all we're going to do is zest the orange because it will give it a really lovely zesty bit. This is, I think, why Annabelle likes the cake, because she likes, oh, that smells delicious. I have to say, children, it smells really yummy. You see how you get all the outside bit, the bit you don't normally eat, is the bit we need. And there'll be juicy bits all squirting. I can't see them, but there will be juicy bits all squirting everywhere. There we go. So there you can see we've got the zest of the orange as well. I might use another orange just to give it a little bit of a boost. Oops. I think I need some fresh oranges, children. I haven't been eating them recently. Oh, I need some mussels. Here we go. So let's check we've got everything. We have, that's it. And then all you do is you bring that together and you end up with what's called cream cheese frosting. And then I'm going to put that on the top of my cake only and decorate it with some pecans as well to show that I've got pecans in there. And if you really, actually what I might do is get a balloon whisk out, because then it gets thicker quicker. So let's scrape that off, because we don't want to miss any. That would be a shame. And this works really well with dairy-free cream cheese, but I haven't got any today, so that was a bit silly of me, we'd run out. And can you see by me using what's called a balloon whisk, it goes thick. Otherwise you'll be tempted to add more icing sugar, and you don't need to. Try and keep it still for you. And I'll post a picture of how it's decorated at the end. But that's it, children. That's the icing ready, nice and thick as you can see. And that will just go on the top of the cake, and then I'll decorate it with some pecans. I hope you enjoy making this at home, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.